Records broken and a good maiden Grand Prix for Portimao. We discuss all the action from this weekend's Portuguese Grand Prix. Hello and welcome to the Pit Crew podcast. My name's Ed, this is my co-host Dylan.
Hello.
And this weekend was the Portuguese Grand Prix at the circuit called Portimao in the Algarve region of Portugal. The headline of this Grand Prix was the fact that Lewis Hamilton beat Michael Schumacher's record of 91 race wins and has now become the most successful driver of all time by race wins, and he now has 92 race wins, and he is not stopping there by any means, is he, Dylan?
No, he's going for 100.
I think he can easily get 100. I think when he's got a race-winning car, he's not stopping anytime soon. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race, some wet-to-dry action, but we'll get into all of that later on. First thing we need to do is compare our predictions for what happened with what actually happened in real life. And in qualifying, I predicted Hamilton to get pole position, Bottas to get P2, and Verstappen to get P3. And for once, I was right. Hamilton did get pole position, Bottas P2, and Verstappen P3. Dylan, on the other side of the screen, however, didn't do so well.
So I've been influenced by Ed. So I've gone Bottas, Verstappen, Norris, because Norris was far third in practice too. So I thought it would be the same, but clearly not.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
I've had an influence on him. I mean, qualifying was Hamilton, he got 2 laps rather than Bottas's 1 lap at the end. The tyres seemed to come alive on that second lap, and he just had more of a chance to get it right if he didn't do so well in his first lap, and he just put in a perfect lap, really.
Yeah.
We'll put a little link up there in the top right hand corner of the screen for an onboard, so yeah, you can watch that lap. It was a pretty incredible lap, and the circuit, in my opinion, is pretty good too.
It's quite hilly though.
Yeah,
it's tricky to find your
word
broken
of the
points.
weekend was definitely undulating.
Yep.
But anyway, moving on to our predictions for the race. I predicted that Hamilton would get P1. Verstappen and Bottas combined is Verstappen. Bottas would get P2 and Verstappen would get P3. That was completely right.
Yeah.
Dylan?
We did the exact same. And it's the first time Ed has ever got 100% on both.
Yeah, and it's the first time we both predicted the same thing to happen
and got it right.
So pretty good there in my opinion. It was a pretty crazy race overall. I mean, lap 1 there was a little bit of drizzle. Kimi Raikkonen had an absolute flyer at the start of the lap. I mean, it seemed that neither the softs nor the mediums could actually get warm enough. But after he had an average first couple of corners, and then after that, his tyres just caught fire, and he just literally, it was like he was on 0% AI. He was just flying past literally everyone. It was incredible to see, again, in the top right hand corner of the screen. If you click up there anytime in the video, you can see all the videos we've linked, but we will also link a onboard from Kimi Raikkonen's start. It was incredible. The start was also incredible because McLaren, my team, Carlos Sainz, was leading by lap 2. Again, Mercedes just didn't seem to be able... Yeah, it didn't last, sadly. It would have been incredible, McLaren to win a Grand Prix, but yeah, it was never meant to be. They didn't have the raw pace to be there. Neither of the McLarens did. Their pace didn't seem to be so good this weekend. But yeah, they just seemed to get the tyres a lot warmer than Mercedes. I mean, you'd expect them to get their tyres a lot warmer because of the DAS system, but they've actually removed it. Or they did in practice, and I expect they have done in the race for Parc Fermé, because they want to see how the car performs without it, because it's banned for 2021, so they're doing a little bit of research. I mean, they're so far ahead in the championship, I think they've got every right to do that, and they'll be perfectly safe doing it, but I think they did struggle getting their tyres up to temperature. I mean, Lewis Hamilton dropped back to about 3rd and 4th by the end of the first lap. I mean, yes, Carlos Sainz, his dad is a rally world champion. I think at least a one-time world champion. I don't really know. I just know his dad's a rally driver. Senior. Yeah, but I think, and Carlos Sainz said in an interview that rally driving instinct helped him with that first lap, because obviously Carlos Sainz growing up will have probably been in a rally car, so that feel for getting right on the edge of the grip limit may have may have helped him there. Throughout the rest of the race, we were constantly reminded that there was a threat of rain by the TV directors putting in little clips of team radio going, "Okay, Lewis, it's raining down in the pit lane. There's a little bit of drizzle down in the pit lane," and then the rain would just go directly around the circuit. It almost seems like the FIA, as soon as they see rain, they just activate the circuit force field. It just goes up, directs all the rain clouds around, and it also. Or I've come up with a little scientific theories, complete rubbish. But
did you just make this up?
Yeah.
Or did you read it somewhere?
No, I've made this up.
Oh.
I don't think you'd read this. I don't think you'd read this anywhere. The Formula One exhaust gases cause their own little force field around the track, which wards off rain clouds. It's like a Formula One rain dance. I think that's completely true. It was, sadly we didn't get rain. We did get little bits of drizzle like at the start, and this resulted in some interesting strategies for the majority of the race. I mean, like, who was Esteban Ocon? He was running, I think, he was running for a long time on his mediums on his first stint. He finished in P9. P8. Danny Ricciardo and the other Renault finished P9, but he ran for it. Caused some interesting strategies. But Dylan, what was your favourite moment in the race?
Well, the first lap was pretty good, with Kimi Räikkönen getting a very good start in the Alfa Romeo, which is the third world car. Sorry.
Yeah.
Somehow managed to get through there. Maybe his tyres probably warmed up quicker than everybody else's. He just managed to get them up to temperature much easier.
I'd agree with you on that. First lap was a really good moment. The battle for the lead for first 10 to 20 laps was good, with
that was good.
Sainz dropping back, lots of other cars having a go, and then Lewis Hamilton versus Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton gaining in on Bottas and then actually making the pass. One of the controversial talking points of the weekend, if you actually have a look on the map, the dotted green line on the straight, it shows the DRS zone, the drag reduction system, where a flap opens in the rear wing to give drivers a little bit more speed and help them with overtaking. But I think it was too long.
Yeah,
because
it was very long.
When you come out of that final turn, you've got so much momentum that opening the DRS too early and going for too long, like cars were coming with a 9/10 gap at the start of the straight and then being able to overtake into turn one, it was just too long, I think, Dylan.
Yeah, it was way too long. They should have put it down further down the activation.
Yeah, there was some, as I said, the strategy battles was great to watch through the entire race. I mean, George Russell running in P7, he went for a overcut of dreams tactic, but it really did not work. Overall, I think he just couldn't get his second pair of tyres. This was a theme throughout the race. He couldn't just get them up to temperature as quickly enough, and he ended up finishing in P14, which was overall a really good result for the British driver. P14 in qualifying and P14 in the race. I mean, he beat Sebastian Vettel in Q2, and he was only 2 places behind Alexander Albon, who had a miserable race for Red Bull down there. Do you think he's going to stay at Red Bull next year, Dylan?
I think he hasn't already signed a contract for 1 more year.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't, because there has been a lot of speculation.
Well, if he doesn't, maybe a Red Bull Academy driver.
Yeah, Sergio Perez, Nico Hülkenberg. What do you think about that?
Maybe not Nico Hülkenberg, but Sergio Perez could definitely go back up.
As I mentioned on Friday's episode, I mean, there is a rumour that George Russell could lose his seat even though he's got a contract, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I'd be very disappointed if it did, and I think Mercedes would have... they just bring him up to his as reserve driver role.
Yeah, wasn't he? He used to be a reserve driver when he was in Formula 2.
Yeah, he was a reserve driver for Mercedes anyway, so I think even if he did lose his seat... what was your biggest surprise of the race or the weekend, Dylan?
Pierre Gasly finishing 5th, having another really good race. Even though, where did he qualify?
He qualified, I think...
P9.
Yeah, P9.
So overall, his weekend was pretty strong.
Really good weekend for Pierre Gasly. Overall, George Russell, as I mentioned, really good weekend. Charles Leclerc and Ferrari overall. I mean, I know Sebastian Vettel, and he's admitted it, that Leclerc is on another level compared to him. But P14 in qualifying, I mean, come on, that's 10 places down than his teammate. But I mean, P10 in the race, and Charles Leclerc with that P4, 13 points. Ferrari's upgrades seem to be working, so I'd say Ferrari a big surprise, and especially Charles Leclerc had a great weekend. Another surprise of the weekend was, as you said, Pierre Gasly. Alexander Albon, a bad surprise. You know, he did quite well in qualifying for that man who really isn't a qualifying person. He's all throughout his career he seems to be a race day person, but yeah, just a bit of a surprise. And there were there were some disappointments in the race, Dylan. What was your biggest disappointment?
Well, Albon not getting any points was a big disappointment.
I'd say that was very disappointing.
And Kvyat didn't have a good race either.
Kvyat didn't have a good race. Lando, the McLarens didn't have a good race.
Only Lando, because Stroll decided to go sneak around the outside.
Lando really wasn't happy. We'll put another in the eye up there for an onboard of that, and you can hear Lando's team radio. Not the happiest man, and Lando's usually quite calm in the car, so Lance Stroll just went round the outside and they made contact. Do you think Lance Stroll deserved that penalty, Dylan?
I think he did. There was loads of room on the inside, but he just decided to risk it to go down the outside.
Yeah.
He should have definitely just stayed on the inside. Unless Norris covered it off, which he didn't, so he should have just gone to the inside.
I agree with you there. He didn't have the right to turn in there. I think he should have got the penalty. Another talking point of the weekend. Do you think that Sergio Perez, nothing came of this, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen, we'll link the race highlights up in the top right hand corner of the screen as well, but they made contact on that one. I think it's just a racing incident. I don't think any more. I think I could have seen something happen, a penalty happen, come out of that, but I think it was really just a racing incident, that one, carnage. There were lots of track limit abuses there.
Grosjean getting a 5-second penalty, Stroll getting another 5-second penalty.
Yeah, Stroll had a miserable weekend.
So he ended up retiring because they probably just wanted to save the car for Imola.
Imola's next weekend. Looking forward to that. There was some. That was certainly a disappointing weekend for Racing Point. Although Sergio Perez, what a brilliant recovery drive from him from pitting on lap 1 in P20 because of the contact with Max Verstappen, to finish P7 overall and be challenging Carlos Sainz for P6, I think, near the end of the race.
Yes.
So really good for Sergio Perez and thoroughly deserving of Driver of the Day. Kimi Räikkönen, another person we've already mentioned, I think he also deserved Driver of the Day, but
he did very well.
Sergio Perez, there were two great drives there as well, and George Russell, as I've mentioned, another good drive there as well. What was your overall verdict for the race, Dylan?
I thought it was a pretty exciting race. Good battles during the middle of the race. It was just generally exciting.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. It was just quite an interesting race. It was great strategy because of this wet to dry. Will it rain? It's drizzling here, and that opening lap, Sergio Perez pitted, which caused couple of and then those the mediums and the soft, which everyone was on, not being really on fire, warm enough really, and then
not getting enough
lots of different strategies, some people going long, some people going short. It was really interesting strategic racing, some good battles as well. There was some side-by-side action with Sainz and Raikkonen, I think Ocon and Stroll, I want to say, but that's probably not right. It's in the highlights we linked up there. But there's some great battles. Yeah, I completely agree. It was a really good strong weekend. Next week we head to Imola for what in earth is the name of the Grand Prix? I will have to have a look for the name of the Grand Prix. Bear with me a second. It is the Formula 1 Emirates Gran Premio dell'Emilia Romagna 2020. Because it's another Grand Prix in Italy, they have named it after probably a region in Italy. That we'll tell you on our predictions episode on Friday, which make sure you tune in for that. Why it's named that, I reckon it's a region in Italy because we've had at least 3 Italian Grand Prix. Talking of that, what tracks would you like to see stay on the calendar that we've had this year?
Definitely the Nürburgring, and I'd like to see Imola because it's historic.
Yeah.
Loads of great moments have been there.
Yeah, I mean,
bad one.
Roland Ratzenberger,
1994.
Senna, both lost their lives on that day in 1994, or Roland Ratzenberger in qualifying. Imola's a great track, and I think that will come to light next week. Mugello, I really like.
I don't like the look of the outer circuit.
Bahrain, no, it's too circular.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
This one, Portimao, I really think should say. Turkey, I'm looking forward to the Turkish Grand Prix. I like Portimao.
I like pretty much all of the ones they've added.
Yeah, it's almost like Spain, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, but better, more undulaty. Barcelona is quite a testing circuit. It's not very good for racing. Yeah. I think it's just a better version of it. I think they should replace that. I think Bahrain, Catalonia should be kept for testing though. I agree. Lots of good tracks. I think we should get rid of Sochi.
Yeah, that's just boring.
Sochi's about to track.
Monaco's boring, but it's historical, so you have to keep it.
And qualifying is so good in Monaco.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. We should keep some of the new circuits on the calendar next year, and I think it goes to show that it's not the unpredictability of a new circuit when the drivers don't really know it well, because when we had Sochi, that's never been exciting, even in the first year. I think it's just the old school circuits, up and down, the way they've been designed, not necessarily cramped, because Portimao had lots of runoff, but it just, the way they've designed those circuits, really fast and flowing, and we thought there may be a bit of risk of no overtaking there. But there certainly wasn't, and we've had some brilliant races this season in 2020 at the new tracks, and I hope to see them back if F1 can strike a deal with them to continue doing that. But for now, we will leave you until next Friday, when we do predictions the Grand Prix at Imola. Till this Friday, sorry, until we do the predictions for Imola. And for now, I've been Ed.
And I've been Dylan.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.